When the moon falls into a partner's third house in Synastry, the ethereal world of emotion meets the pragmatic world of communication. It is a placement that turns small talk into soul talk, creating a bridge between one person's subconscious needs and the other's intellectual expression. The intersection of heart and mind. The third house, traditionally ruled by Gemini and Mercury, governs our immediate environment, our siblings, our thought patterns, and the way we transmit information. It is a busy, restless, and often logical house. The moon, conversely, is the luminary of instinct, safety, and the fluctuating tides of the psyche. When your moon resides in your partner's third house, your very presence tends to stimulate their mind. You don't just talk to them, you provide the emotional nectar that fuels their ideas. For the house person, the one whose third house is being occupied, the moon person feels like a familiar internal monologue. There is an immediate sense of "I understand how you think," even if your logical styles differ. You are able to perceive the feelings behind their words, often finishing their sentences or sensing a shift in their mood based on a slight change in their syntax. Emotional intellectualism. In this dynamic, the house person feels a deep psychological safety when communicating with the moon person. They may find themselves oversharing or discussing topics they usually keep private. Because the moon represents the mother archetype and our earliest nurturing, the house person feels parented or cared for through conversation. The moon person, in turn, finds the house person's mind fascinating. They see the house person's ideas as something to be protected and nurtured. If the house person is a writer, speaker, or teacher, the moon person becomes their most intuitive editor and emotional cheerleader. However, this can also lead to a subjective atmosphere. Because the connection is so emotional, it can be difficult to remain objective. If the moon person is feeling moody or defensive, the house person may feel like their own thoughts are being clouded or unfairly judged. The daily flow and shared language. The third house also deals with the mundane, daily commutes, neighborhood errands, and the white noise of life. Moon in the third house synastry often manifests as a couple that loves to do life together. They find comfort in the simple act of driving to the grocery store while decompressing about their day. There is often a secret language developed here. This might involve inside jokes, specific nicknames, or a way of communicating through glances that outsiders wouldn't understand. The moon person helps the house person articulate feelings that were previously just abstract concepts. This is one of the most powerful best friend placements in Synastry because it ensures that the lines of communication remain open, even during conflict. You aren't just lovers, you are confidants who process the world through a shared lens. Potential shadows, verbal sensitivity. No Synastry placement is without its hurdles. Because the moon is hypersensitive, the moon person may take the house person's words too personally. If the house person uses a sharp tone or is having a Mercury-ruled moment of bluntness, the moon person might feel a deep emotional wound. The third house person must learn that their words carry more weight with the moon person than they might with others. Conversely, the house person might sometimes feel that the moon person is suffocating their intellectual independence. If the moon person reacts emotionally to every idea the house person proposes, the house person may start to withhold information to avoid an emotional scene. The key to balancing this energy is recognizing that while communication is the bridge, it must be built on a foundation of both logic and empathy. The long-term impact. Over time, this placement creates a relationship where silence is rarely uncomfortable, but conversation is always available. You teach each other how to think with your hearts and feel with your heads. It fosters a domesticity that is rooted in the mental realm, a home built out of words, letters, and shared stories. It is a beautiful placement for long-term stability because it ensures that as long as you are talking, you are healing. The moon in the third house suggests that your greatest intimacy is found in your dialogue. The zodiac sign of that moon colors the flavor of your shared communication and daily interactions. Here is a brief look at how this manifests across all 12 signs. Aries, conversations are fast, impulsive, and honest. You likely challenge each other's ideas playfully, but the moon person may get their feelings hurt if the house person's debate style becomes too aggressive. Taurus, communication is steady, soothing, and focused on practical comforts. You enjoy discussing finances, food, and long-term security. There is a grounding effect, though you might both be stubborn about changing your minds. Gemini, this is the natural home of the third house. It creates a chatterbox dynamic where information flows non-stop. You bond over curiosity, local news, and constant mental stimulation, though it can occasionally feel restless. Cancer, deeply intuitive and nostalgic. You likely spend hours talking about the past, family, and your inner feelings. The house person feels emotionally held by the moon person's words, creating a very private, safe world. Leo, communication is dramatic, creative, and warm. The moon person shines when the house person listens to them. There is a lot of pride involved in your ideas, and you likely exchange many compliments and grand gestures. Virgo, analytical and service-oriented. You show love by solving problems and discussing the fine print of life. The moon person helps the house person organize their thoughts, but you must watch out for becoming overly critical of one another. Libra, harmonious and diplomatic. You both strive for fairness in your discussions. The moon person brings a sense of beauty and peace to the house person's mind, making this a very pleasant, non-confrontational placement. Scorpio, intense and investigative. Nothing is small talk here. You discuss secrets, psychology, and the taboo. The moon person senses what the house person isn't saying, leading to a profound, almost psychic mental bond. Sagittarius, philosophically expansive. You bond over big ideas, travel plans, and belief systems. The moon person encourages the house person to think bigger, though you might occasionally overlook the practical details of daily life. Capricorn, structured and serious. Your conversations often revolve around goals, legacy, and responsibilities. The moon person provides emotional support for the house person's ambitions, creating a very productive mental partnership. Aquarius, eccentric and objective. You bond over unique hobbies, social causes, or technology. The moon person feels safe being different around the house person, though the emotional connection may feel more intellectual than mushy. Pisces, dreamy and poetic. Words often feel unnecessary because the moon person picks up on the house person's subconscious vibes. You likely share a love for music, art, or spiritual topics, though clarity in communication can sometimes be a challenge. Subscribe, like and share. Thanks for your support, Synastry Venus.